ended up playing, I suppose, a lot more than you probably planned on Saturday, almost the full 80 minutes. Just talk to us about what the feeling was afterwards, and how it will affect you this week. Obviously, it was there was a lot of players sitting up in the stands that maybe would have liked to have been down there as well. But just tell me what the feeling was like afterwards in the dressing room.
Yeah, it was very disappointing. It's always not nice to lose a game in any circumstances, but I suppose to get knocked out in the semi-final, to get with the plan of getting into a URC final, obviously, which was kind of the goal at this stage, was to be in two finals, and it's very disappointing against a team we know very well as well. But I think there's definitely, from our side, there's definitely a lot of things we know we could have done better, but it's definitely a huge amount of credit has to go to Munster. They were really good. They performed brilliantly. Thought they were very impressive, and obviously from our side, we'll learn a lot of lessons, and yeah, we'll have to move on pretty quickly. I think that's the nature of the way these 2 weeks have played out. We're into a final this week, so I think it's been brilliant so far today. Getting the week underway, and there's been great energy about the place, and we've kind of taken the lessons we can from the Munster game, and we're getting excited now for a big one this weekend.
Does it ramp up the pressure on you now?
I think there's always a bit of pressure, but I think I wouldn't say the pressure's up, because I think we kind of expected of each other to go out there and to win. And I mean, the goal for this team has been to try and win the league, win the European Cup as well. So I suppose we probably put that expectation on ourselves. I think as I said, we'll learn a lot from the Munster game. I think it's a great in terms of games to prepare you for La Rochelle in a final. That was as much of a tough knockout game you'll ever have or ever experience, from my point of view anyway. So definitely a good one to have had preparing for this week, I guess. But it would have obviously been nice to have got a win, but I think we'll be well prepared because of it.
Hi Josh, Joe Caulfield here from Virgin Media. How are you?
Oh well, thanks.
Where do you feel that game got away from you?
I think it was a tight game throughout. I think the scoreboard probably showed how close it was. I think coming down to the last 10 minutes when we're in the lead, thought we probably could have managed it slightly better, and probably it's small margins. It's decisions going either way, a couple of mistakes, maybe discipline, or just anything that goes wrong in any way, or you don't quite execute right, has big consequences, I suppose, that late in the game. I think you could go back all throughout the game, and there's things, I mean, to be obvious to anyone really watching, things that didn't go well, and any of those go well along the line for either team, and that's the difference further along. So I think it was definitely a game of smaller margins. I think we probably for whatever reason we probably conceded a fair few penalties, and and once you do that, you kind of lose control of the game. We probably gave the ball away a bit in their half, and I suppose last 10 minutes that allowed them back into our half, and fair play to them, they managed to execute drop goal to get a win. So small margin, you can probably pick any area, and there's small things that we could have done better, and I think in games like that, that's the difference, I suppose.
Having been so dominant and so impressive over the last couple of seasons, if you weren't to want to win the Champions Cup this season, that would be two seasons in a row, having not won silverware, how does that affect the mood in the group? Is it added pressure, or does it just galvanise your determination?
Well, we're kind of not planning on that, to be honest. We're planning on winning this weekend. That's the plan. But I think this team's motivated to win. We want to win silverware. We've incredibly proud group of fans and players who are incredibly proud to play for Leinster. So means everything for us to be able to play for the jersey, and that's what our focus will be. We'll be looking for a win this weekend.
Good luck this weekend, Josh.
Thank you.
Josh, it's Don here. Leo said that the selection for the Munster game kind of lacked cohesion. Are you hoping for a more settled team this week against La Rochelle?
I suppose I thought we managed to do pretty well. I thought Munster were good. It's obviously very tricky at this point in the season being involved. And it's something we've spoken about all along. It's a squad effort, especially when you're in contention. I suppose in two competitions, you can't have the same team playing 6 weeks in a row. And then expect to be fresh when you get to finals. So that's kind of the unfortunate side of it, that you can't just, sport doesn't work like that. You have rotations, you have injuries, you have whatever. But there has to be a bit of that, and I think fair play to Leo. He's always backed the entire squad. It's not just 15 lads who play all the games all throughout the year. And the last few years, he's always backed the guys who haven't played as much, or even the guys who've played a lot of the time when maybe the internationals were away or that kind of thing. So I think obviously didn't go to plan on the weekend, but I think we've a very hungry group and some world-class players who don't even get to play that often starting in the starting 15. So I think the quality is there throughout, and I think part of the two competitions is you have to keep rotating it. So I think it's just the way it's played out, I guess.
Good. Thanks, Josh, and good luck.
Thank you.
Hi Josh, how are you doing? Is there any part of the team that will talk about doing this for Johnny and Stuart? Because they're obviously coming to the end of their time at Leinster, and Stuart will deny it in a few minutes when I ask him if that's any motivation. But will you guys chat about, making sure you get it all just for those two, for the coach and Johnny?
I'm not sure if it'll be meant specifically. It might be, I suppose, later in the week, but it's definitely something I'd be thinking of personally in terms of my own motivation. I don't think you need much more motivation for a game like this, but like Stuart has done so much for me personally since he's come to Leinster. As a former number 7 himself, he's been absolutely invaluable to me and has helped me grow as a player a huge amount. And Johnny, in the same way, has made this club the success it's been, I suppose, over the last number of years that he's been involved. It's no coincidence really, and the same with Ireland. So they're two people who've motivated me a huge amount, and even looking at the likes of Dave Carney, he's been there in so many of the great days in Leinster, and there's a number of players all throughout the squad, even James Tracy, who unfortunately had to retire earlier in the season, and people like that, they all motivate you. You want to do it for them because they're part of that Leinster family, I guess. And then I suppose there's, talking about motivation, playing in front of home fans with their families all there, there'll be no shortage of motivation, but definitely Stuart and Johnny will be in the back of my mind anyway when playing the game.
And just what you said there about Johnny, we've talked him up for the last 15 years as one of the best rugby players ever, the best Irish rugby player ever. I mean, our Leinster, I know Ross has done brilliantly, but are Leinster a better team this year going into the final? It's the same matchup. Are you a better team this year going into the final?
I think regardless of number 10 or who's playing there, I think the experience we've learned along the way, I'd like to think every year I know other teams develop and improve as well, but I'd like to think every year we've probably added things on and tried to improve different things. So I definitely think we're even the lessons I suppose we've learned from last year will be hopefully invaluable to us this year and this weekend. So I'd like to think we're in a better place for sure.
Good luck on that.
Thank you.
Hi Josh, Ashling here from Off the Ball. How are you?
All good, thank you.
Good. What can you expect from a La Rochelle side led by Ron O'Gara?
Yeah, I mean they've been brilliant. Been brilliant all season. They've been brilliant for the last 3 years. Really, getting to three Heineken or Champions Cup finals in a row is very, very impressive. So I think full credit to them. They've showed their consistency. They got good dangerous backs, really big physical pack, and they've definitely shown their class and consistency over the last few years. So I think it'll be a big challenge. It was the same last year. They got some really good individuals that are pretty key to the way they play, and they use them pretty well. So we'll definitely be expecting a very, very tough game against who are a brilliant team.
How much of an advantage is it to have it in the Aviva Stadium?
Yeah, I think we saw last year in Marseille the difference. It obviously the support they had that La Rochelle had was incredible, and made for an incredible atmosphere, and we're hoping for the same this year, but on our side with a few more blue flags, and I think that's the support. I mean, you wish you could get every Leinster supporter into the stadium, but it's unfortunately not that way. You can't fit everyone in, but the support we've got has been absolutely amazing wherever we seem to play, home or abroad. So it'll be incredibly special to be playing in Dublin at home with all our family and friends watching on, and the sea of blue Leinster supporters as well. So it's going to be very special.
Brilliant, thanks. The best of luck.
Thank you.
Hi Josh, Jerry Corey, Dublin City FM. How tough is the scheduling now? Playing a week after the semi-final of the URC. Obviously losing it is not great. But going into the final then a week later, how tough is the scheduling of these competitions?
It's not something I think of too much, to be honest. Obviously, it is of course tough playing big games back to back, but I suppose it's part of what we're used to. It's no different in the Six Nations or a World Cup, or any time really. There's a lot of tough games back to back, but I kind of don't think about it, to be honest. I just go around told and get ready to play. I think it's just I suppose it is what it is, and I think we'll be well prepared for this weekend. I think the way it obviously didn't work out well on the weekend, having lost, but I think Leo has managed the team quite well throughout the season. That he's been able to manage players and rotate them, keep people as fresh as possible to be able to perform at their best when they're on the field. So hopefully that'll stand to us now this week.
And just losing to Munster in the semi-final, like you can throw everything at this game on Saturday. Obviously, it's the big one, and you really want to win it. So is that sort of a huge motivation to go all out for this, the fifth star? Yeah,
definitely. I think I like to think every time we take the field we give everything, but I suppose definitely this week there's a trophy on the line at the end of it, and unfortunately I suppose it'll be our last week of the season either way. But where else would you rather be in a European final for a week like this? It's unbelievably exciting, and I think everyone's like the atmosphere. I know we lost on the weekend, but there's a great atmosphere around the place today. Loads of energy. People are excited because it kind of it can be easy to forget all that's been, but even looking back over the season, there's so much work that goes in from the start of pre-season, or even years building up to getting a team that's good enough to get to a final. So it's definitely been a big build up to it, a huge amount of work that's gone in, and we'll hopefully enjoy it and put in as big a performance as we can.